The matter of being flirtatious with women, I believe it has gone hand in hand with men since ancient times, and it's something that's hard to forbid, especially for a handsome young man like me. It's like I'm a magnet that attracts widows and older women, both those whose husbands are dead and those still alive. They come to me as if it's nothing. I don't even have to make any effort to flirt. Many of my friends envy me, and more than a few have said to me, "Damn, I'm so jealous of man." They'd say, "He's not even that good looking, how unfair." Some of them, though, would sound more like they were trying to warn me, or maybe they were just annoyed. They'd tell me things like, "Hey, don't go flirting with someone's wife or daughter. Especially if her man's the jealous type, you'll get yourself killed, man." But those words seemed to go in one ear and out the other. Or worse, they only made me even more excited and reckless. Until I met Piwera, a fiery 40-year-old woman, beautiful, sexy, and just as flirtatious as I was. But Piwera, this charming older lady, already had a husband and 2 kids. Still, that didn't seem like a problem to me, because as the saying goes, one hand alone can never make a clap. Yes, exactly. Because Piwera seemed interested in me too. Our eyes met and our hearts seemed to connect. Everything just flowed naturally, easy, smooth, and perfectly in my favor. I started secretly meeting up with Piwera, that fiery older woman, more and more often. At first, it was just casual conversations. But as time went on, things escalated until we ended up in bed together. The places changed depending on time and desire. Sometimes a hotel, sometimes a resort. Basically, wherever opportunity allowed. My friends knew about it and admired me, even envied me. But some of the older folks tried to warn me out of genuine concern, saying, "Hey man, that's a sin, you know, and it could get you killed. You should stop while you still can." Do you really think her husband doesn't know? Yeah, that's exactly what I was worried about too. But my desires, both emotional and physical, kept calling out to me again and again. And as for Piwera, she liked me just as much, even though there was quite an age gap between us. Piwera was 40 while I was only 20 at the time. And yes, the elders were right when they warned me. If even your friends know about it, then don't you think her husband might start to suspect something too, ma'am? Because during our most recent meeting, at a bungalow somewhere around Bangpoo, after we finished our business in bed, Piwera took a selfie, then lay down beside me not far away, and said to me with a worried look in her eyes, "Man, I think Sekon's starting to suspect something about us." She said, "He's been asking strange questions again and again lately." I turned toward her and kissed her cheek deeply, not really taking it seriously. Though, deep down inside, a faint sense of fear had already begun to stir. "Are you scared, P?" I said softly. "I'm not scared at all. I'd risk everything just to see you, to be with you." "Oh, you sweet talker," she said with a half smile. "That's exactly why I've fallen for you so madly, man. But tell me honestly, aren't you really afraid? Sekon, my husband, he's the jealous type. And when he gets angry, he's violent, man." When I heard that, I have to admit, my heart skipped a beat and a chill of fear ran down my spine. Worry crept into my mind, but my mouth and my actions were the complete opposite. I pulled Piwera into my arms, holding her tight, as if nothing else in the world mattered. "I'd die for you, P," I whispered. "Because I love you." After the two of us parted ways near the downtown market in Semet Prakan, Piwera parked her sedan right in front of the fresh market. I got out of the car and waved goodbye. But as Piwera's car started to pull away, I noticed a pickup truck slowly following right behind her. And when I looked into that pickup truck, my eyes met those of a middle-aged man inside. He turned and stared straight back at me, locking eyes completely. A wave of heat and fear shot through my whole body, because I recognized him instantly. That was Piwera's husband, Sekon. I quickly turned my face away and ducked into the crowd. People were packed tightly together in that area, and I hoped to use the swarm of bodies as cover to blend in and disappear. In my heart, I was filled with fear and worry for Piwera, wondering what she might have to face after this. But I didn't have the luxury to think about that now. All I could do was get myself out of there, to hide, to stay safe first. Everything else could come later. I slipped through alleys and side paths, my heart pounding, a cold shiver running down my spine, terrified that Piwera's husband might come after me, might shoot me, stab me, or attack me in some way. Eventually, I began to calm down, thinking I'd escaped the danger that day. But then, my thoughts turned back to Piwera. What about her? I went back to my room, and once I was sure it was safe, I quickly gathered my essentials and some clothes, planning to hide out for a few days with an older friend of mine who lived in Rayong just to keep myself safe. Or maybe this was what they call hell within the heart. Perhaps it was the first taste of karma, the price I'd begun to pay for my sins. I took a passenger van heading to Rayong. And the whole way there, I couldn't stop worrying about Piwera, nor could I stop thinking about her. All I could do the entire way was curse myself under my breath. Sigh, damn it, I never should have done this. After hiding out at my friend's place in Rayong for 2 nights, I couldn't sleep at all, so I finally decided to head back to Namdang right away, because I knew I couldn't hide forever. At some point, I had to return to work, to my normal life. So I said goodbye to my friend and packed my clothes into my bag. My friend gave me a ride on his motorcycle and dropped me off at the mouth of the alley. After saying goodbye, I crossed the road and waited for a bus heading towards Samet Prakan, the sky growing dimmer by the minute, and the streetlight above the bus stop had just flickered on. I glanced at my wristwatch. It showed that the time was already 10 minutes past 7. But there was no sign of any bus coming anytime soon. I started to get irritated. I stood up, stretching my stiff legs after sitting for so long. A sudden gust of wind blew past me. I stood up, stretching my stiff legs after sitting for so long. A sudden gust of wind blew past me. The breeze carried with it a faint, familiar scent, a soft fragrance that brushed gently against my nose, one I knew all too well. I shook my head and laughed at myself. Damn it, man, have you really gone that crazy missing her? Just then, a bus finally arrived. I waved it down and climbed aboard, taking a seat inside. Letting out a long sigh, I couldn't stop thinking about the trouble that surely awaited me ahead. I told myself I'd have to stay strong. Alright then, you can't run away forever. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. I dozed off and woke up on and off during the ride, until I finally reached Bang Phli. I got off in front of Lotus Bang Phli, then took a Songtha to Namdang Temple, the alley where I lived. I looked across the street toward the entrance of Namdang Temple Alley. I stood there for a moment, bracing myself for whatever news I might hear from the people I knew, who lived in the same alley in the same apartment building, and who surely knew all about my affair. And of course, I was certain the news wouldn't be good. Just as I was about to step forward and cross the street, I heard someone softly call my name. It was Piwera's voice. The sound of it made me jump in shock. Instinctively, I snapped my head toward the direction of the voice, and there she was, Piwera, standing in the darkness in front of a closed pharmacy. Dressed in her nightgown, Piwera stepped forward and threw her arms around me, her voice trembling as she stammered out her words. Man, where have you been? I came looking for you but couldn't find you, so I've been standing here waiting. I hugged her back, worry flooding through me, and held her hand tightly. Her hand was cold, chillingly so. She must have been standing there waiting for me a long time. When you dropped me off that day, P, I saw your husband driving right behind your car. He even turned and looked straight at me. I completely lost my mind. I panicked. So I went to hide at a friend's place in Rayong for 2 days. But I couldn't stop worrying about you. So I came back. How about you, P? How have you been? Did he hurt you? I asked quietly. She shook her head and said softly, He doesn't hurt me anymore, man. He doesn't touch me at all anymore. He despises me now, she said bitterly. Man, are you going to despise me too? I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled her close, holding her tightly in my arms, letting that embrace be my answer. Piwera gave me a pale, weary smile, her face drained of color, as if she'd been through endless suffering. Her husband must have completely cut her off by now. Piwera took my hand and led me to her car. She drove off and I didn't even bother to ask where she was taking me. All the way there, I leaned against her shoulder, feeling safe, almost peaceful. Eventually, the car stopped in front of a dimly lit shop house on the ground floor. I opened my mouth to ask, but Piwera gently placed her hand over my lips, a sweet, tender gesture. Then she whispered softly, If you truly love me, man, don't ask anything. Piwera led me out of the car, guided me to unlock the glass door, and we stepped inside. The lights were dim, and the atmosphere felt strangely familiar. In the middle of the room lay a large carpet spread across the floor. Piwera pulled me down onto it, and there we gave in to our longing for each other, our bodies intertwined, lost in a fiery, passionate night that seemed to last forever. With all the longing I had tried so hard to hold back, I could no longer contain it. I became aware again only when I heard the sound of the sliding door opening, followed by someone's startled gasp which jolted me awake. When I looked around, daylight had already filled the room, and that's when I realized the place Piwera had brought me till last night wasn't a room at all. It was the funeral pavilion inside the temple. Right in front of me stood her coffin, with her portrait placed above it, the very same half-body photo of her, wearing the exact nightgown she'd had on when she came to me last night. My whole body went cold, goosebumps rising all over me, and I nearly fainted. She was the one who came every morning to refill the oil lamps, And that morning, she opened the door, only to find me lying there completely naked in front of the coffin inside the pavilion. I scrambled to put my clothes back on as fast as I could. The old woman who found me told me that the deceased had been shot dead by her husband 3 days ago. They said he was consumed by jealousy, so much so that he completely lost his mind. I crawled toward her coffin, lit incense, and bowed deeply, begging her forgiveness for being the reason her life had ended this way. Then I hurriedly left the funeral pavilion and the temple. But all along the way, the faint scent of Piwar's perfume followed me, lingering as if she was walking right beside me.
That my best friend, she a real bad